and I want to see you all. Great, awesome. So I am going to introduce and welcome everybody because I know that there will be some people who will be watching the replay. And I'm looking forward to the people that are coming tomorrow. And I'm so glad that you guys are here, secretly wanted, as I said. And really, really happy to see Leslie, you pop up at the last minute. Yeah, always love having your presence. So we're going to have a great time. My intention today is, the fire horse energy is quite full on, as we were just talking about when we were just gathering. And I also want to have some fun today. Like I was really, really excited about today's masterclass. It feels very, very different to any other masterclass I've delivered. Um, and probably you already can understand why if you've been connecting with the fire horse. And I have been connecting with the fire horse very much. I've never connected to the Chinese astrological year. Like I've heard about it, I knew it was the year of the snake last year. I've never gone, oh my God, I need to know about this year. I've not, of course, I've seen things on Instagram, okay? But my relationship with the fire horse is my relationship with the fire horse. Like we are in relationship with each other. The fire horse is speaking to me. I feel like my channel is so clear. My downloads are hot. Um, the richness of my notes to self, you'll see here. Um, so fire horse frequency that's been speaking to me are all these very masculine words: delivery, materialization, move, um, uh, own and share your voice across new territory. When I see the across new territory, I actually see the horse galloping across new territory. Um, don't stay in the same lane. Um, venture out, adventure, um, carry the torch, like all these really masculine energies. And I have not, as I was saying to Leslie and my best yet people recently, I have not felt a leaning towards the masculine as much as I am this year for a long time. Probably, I reckon, since 2015 or so. My experience, especially the last few years, has been more of a leaning towards the feminine and then balancing out with the masculine. Whereas I feel like, of course, the feminine always leads. We don't want to be, bulldozing in the masculine with no with force. We don't want to be bulldozing with the masculine with force and control, right? So it's always being led by the feminine. It's always being led from presence and intuition and receiving and feeling and listening and downloading and always, right? Letting go, surrendering, absolutely not pretending like we know what is going to unfold, because if we think we know what's going to unfold, we are so limiting what can unfold, right? So fully open, always. And then the masculine is so balanced this year. It's so balanced out. You know, it, Up until this year, when I would receive something and I'd receive a directive, let's say, from the feminine, I wouldn't act upon it straight away. I'd sit with it, I'd be with it, I'd feel it, I'd write to it. Um, this year, I'm receiving the directive, and the feeling to move is immediate. And like I said, in our little chatter before coming on, the feeling to move with this masterclass, I moved with it, I put it out there, I only wrote it this morning. As Leslie said, for reasons of course, I'm not going to go and prepare a week ago because anything can happen in a week, right? And of course it did, right? Yesterday, well, 2 days ago, what I received is part of today's um, masterclass. That's why I'm excited about being with you guys today, because even though Brian, you were saying you were like feeling a bit foggy and, listless, I don't believe that there's any ambiguity in the fire horse year. And I don't believe that we need to see, well, I know that we don't need to see what the outcome is going to be, and how could we ever believe that we could? It's only by moving that we get to see what is actually unfolding. So in the fire horse year, amongst that masculine energy, from my experience, it's also the year of plot twists and pivots, like plot twists left, right, and center. Plot twists in relation to visions that and missions that we're now being asked to lead, that we're kind of like, what? Plot twists that come out of left field, like my technology messed up this week with this masterclass. People were registering and I was not receiving their registrations. Thanks, Tess, for helping me out there and being my test dummy at the back. Test person, it's a horrible word, isn't it? Test person at the back, and then realizing I wasn't receiving your registration. So there could be people out there that have registered and I don't know about, unfortunately. So I changed, I'm in the process of changing platforms. Firehorse, right? Move, upgrade, move. Uh, and also in the fire horse year, and the people that have come to this masterclass, the people that I had intention of attracting into this masterclass, are all people who are ready to move, because we have spent years in preparation. We have spent years of devotion. Look at Leslie's laughing. We have been so committed. Every single person here with me today, like I've known you for a while. Tess, I've known you for a couple, you're my newest person that I've known for a few years, but before you and I met, you did years. We've done years, right? And it's no longer about becoming. Like, we have been becoming, and now it's about living who we are already. And it doesn't surprise me at all now, in hindsight, that last year's theme for me and the space that I was holding was harvest. Like, we were gathering everything. Well, everything that we had planted, it had, we weren't planting seeds. It had grown, and we're now harvesting and seeing who have we become, become, so that we can now open ourselves to the plot twists and pivots that are here. So the fire horse told me to put on this masterclass. The purpose of this masterclass is to share my relationship with the fire horse with you, to either connect you with your own relationship with the fire horse, or to, have you connect even more deeply with your relationship with the fire horse. It's to have you know where you are orientated this year. It's all about orientation this year, and I'm going to speak to a really awesome piece of writing that I did recently that helped me know, oh my God, this is where we're orientating now, in terms of the people that are coming here to this masterclass. So when you know where you're orientating, I think I love context. When I know that context is here, and there's the context of, let's say, execution, or the context of being a steward and carrying the torch, I can be here. It helps me be here, right? So, purpose of this masterclass is to help you know where you're at, to orientate. And the purpose of this masterclass is to own your authority, to feel it in this masterclass, to feel your authority, to feel your voice. And potentially, as I said before, the fire horse tells me, own and share your voice across new territory. And perhaps through this process, you're going to see maybe there's new territory that you share your voice with. Maybe there are plot twists and pivots. Maybe the plot twist was right under your nose and you didn't even see it. Last year, I realized it was under my nose all year, but I didn't see it until the end of last year. Last year, I had this moment of, oh my God, like 9 out of 10 one-on-ones now are people with cancer now. I had 9 sessions this week. There were two that were not people with cancer. Yesterday was all day with cancer. Um, I hadn't actually realized that I'm a cancer coach until that moment when I realized, my God, the majority of my one-on-one work are people with cancer now. So that was a plot twist and a half that I didn't see coming, yet it was there right under my nose. So I am really opening my arms here with you to see potentially the plot twists that were always underneath your nose that you didn't see. Or maybe if you saw them, that you own them more fully. So that's the purpose of the masterclass. The frequencies that we're working with today are self-honesty. So, yeah, I'll say this, a self-honesty. So there's a process we're going to go through where you'll be invited into self-honesty. As I said before, ownership of your authority, courage, because it does, like, courage is one of the number one frequencies for this year. You know, as we know where we're orientating, and we say yes to where we're orientating and where we're leading from, it is absolutely courageous to do so. I love this one. When this one came through, I loved it. Humility, not humility as in, the humility to be honest with ourselves. Yes, that. But the humility to know the visions of beautiful madness that we're leading. Because I find there's such a humility to know this is the thing that has asked me to lead it. This vision or mission. And everybody here that is on this masterclass is not leading a vision or a mission that's vanilla. That's standard. That none of us are. So, Charbel, for those who know him, gave me the words beautiful madness, end of 2024. And now it's time for it. There's humility. There's humility when we know that we've been given this vision of or mission of beautiful madness to lead. There's such a humility. And of course, the frequency of movement in this masterclass. So it would not surprise me at all if what you receive from this masterclass, you then go and move. Even if it's one move, but there's a movement. There is. You'll see as the masterclass unfolds. Everybody, I'm going to say this for the recording because everybody here knows that I use notes to self regularly. Yeah. Notes to self is a place where I can acknowledge my humanity. It's a place where I can acknowledge my fears. It's a place where I allow my spirit to speak to me. It's a place that allows me to move, if there's fear there, to move from fear to, let's call it my big mind or big Giselle. Yeah. And I have written notes to self, well, for decades. I never called them notes to self until July 2023. And I write them on Google, and I actually used up all of my Google space last year, and I started a whole new document, which is really cool. And I thought it was quite a demarcation, quite a line in the sand, because it's different, right? Last year began a very different experience. And then end of 2020, no, it wasn't end of 2024. It was around July 2024. I realized that writing notes to self might not just be for me, it might be for other people. And that's when the vision of my best year yet came through. And Leslie's part of that. And most of us started in November 2024. We're completing in March this year. It's been the most beautiful experience, the most beautiful, powerful experience of this, up to 3 times per month coming together, writing notes to self, sharing notes to self with each other, witnessing each other. It's been the most beautiful, beautiful experience. And this masterclass is created from my notes to self. Alrighty, so in my notes to I put my notes to self through ChatGPT. Sometimes I see more things because chat will show me. A couple of days ago, I put my notes in, and chat surprised me because it said to me, Giselle, I can really see you have moved through phases, over the years. And when you get like, how do I say it? Curious, like there was a real curiosity that was lit in me that day. That was like, oh, I want to know what you're talking about, right? So then I loved it, loved doing this. I then mapped out what I'm calling 4 stages of leadership. And I mapped it out because I have moved through them and I'm beginning to move through the fourth one. I did send it. I don't know if everybody received. Did everybody receive it? Yeah. Okay. So you're familiar with it. Okay. So um, very, very briefly, and the reason why I'm going to share this with you is because I really want us to sit in phases 3 and 4. So very quickly, phase 1 is awakening, when we awaken. And the thing that I did when I was mapping this out, which I really loved, I had so much fun doing this, was I was asking the fire horse, tell me how are we to move here? Like, talk to me. How are we to move? How are we not to move? And so what ended up happening was it gave us a directive. The fire horse gave us a directive, and it also gave us a caution, which I wrote in, note, a caution that this response, if you try to do this response in this phase, this is not the response for this phase. And I know that personally because I'll wait. Okay, very quickly, phase 1 is the awakening. We all wake up. The fire horse directive is take 100% personal responsibility and see clearly. I'm running through 1 and 2. Phase 2 is integration, right? We are aware. We now apply what we learned. We show up in the version that we have been shown. We begin to not make the egoic version that we believed to be true as we did before, and we start to, we love that part of us, but we don't identify or orientate from that part of us. So live what you know. Phase 3 is execution. And this phase 3 and phase 4, I know for the people in this masterclass, this is the place that we are now being asked to orientate. And it's a dynamic map, and I'm going to speak to that in a moment, but I'll just go linear for the moment. So phase 3 is about execution, right? Remember at the beginning of the masterclass, I was saying that the fire horse was giving me all these masculine words: delivery, materialisation, following through, action, all that masculine. So phase 3 is execution, and the fire horse directive is move. I personally was in this phase last year. I'm still in this phase. This phase, I'll just read it actually because it's good. So this is the phase most often misinterpreted. Clarity is present. You know what is being asked, and yet the external evidence may not have caught up yet. Results lag by design, in fact. Pressure is felt. Fear may still visit. The fire horse does not misinterpret this or interpret this as failure. She steps forward and says, move. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Movement reveals the next level of clarity. And this was the biggest thing for me last year. Here, purpose and pressure coexist. So the context of this phase is the ability to hold 2 realities at the same time. right? The reality of when fear is present, fear is present. And the reality of when there's a vision present, there's a vision present. Being able to acknowledge the fear, but not collapsing into fear. And knowing that the pressure that we're experiencing in whatever it is, fear, anxiety, whatever it is actually in service to the vision. And I'll give you an example later on in my notes to self this week. So this is about mastering the ability to hold the tension, to hold the pressure, knowing that pressure creates diamonds. Now, this was the thing that I was going to say before, and I thought, no, I'll wait. So, as I said, the fire horse is when I was playing with this map, and I was asking the fire horse, how are we to orientate? How are we to respond in these phases? In this phase, the fire horse says it's not about excavation, right? It's not about going and digging deep in the shadowy parts of ourselves and orientating there. In the first response, doesn't mean that we don't go and dip back in, because we do. We can't, if we're in phase 3, we can dip back into 2, right? Dip back in, but we're not primarily orientated. If we're in number 3, we're not going to primarily go back to number 2 and orientate in number 2 in the first instance. Last year, there were so many times, that I would ask myself, something would happen, and I'd say, oh, do I need to go and have a look at what's in the shadows? Are there blind spots there that I need to go and see? And, most of the time the answer was no. Sometimes yes, so I dipped. But most of the time it was no. It was like, hold the pressure, hold 2 realities at the same time without falling into the fear. Then this phase 4, stewardship. The fire horse directive is carry the flame. And, I have had, all year, I have had visions in my mind of, multiple candles or being lit. I've had visions of, one torch, lighting another torch and lighting another torch all year. So in phase 3, in the execution and the movement, what happens as a result of that when we move, the wording that came to me at the end of last year is that we walk through doorways of new identity through the courage and the power of our spirit. So like I shared with you guys before, like I've owned that I'm a cancer coach as well as the other stuff that I do, right? And I can only walk through that doorway of a new identity with the courage and power of my spirit. Without the courage and the power of my spirit, no way will I walk through that doorway. One of my friends, who some of you know, Meg, says that it's not always a doorway, it's a fucking long corridor. And that is true too. So when we walk through these doorways of identity through, in the courage and the power of our spirit, it's the only way we can do it. We're asked to birth visions and missions of beautiful madness. That humility that I was talking about before, like when the vision or a mission is given to you, to say, you go and carry the torch, you go and, you go and carry the flame. It's a, oops, thumb going up. It's a beautiful, it's this full of humility. So it says you are asked to hold environments where others can evolve, to build structures that stabilize transformation, to allow your growth to serve something bigger than you. And I think that's the main thing, right? It's bigger. To own and share your voice across new territory. And the caution here, right? The note is it's not about becoming, right? It's about recognizing that you already are. And that is why you can go and carry the torch. So as I said, this map, when I I actually wrote a Substack article because I was so excited about it. And then I went for a walk. And when I went for a walk that night, I realized that I already knew it wasn't linear, right? I knew it was a spiral because we can go from one, two, three, four, but then we can dip back into one, or not even dip back in. We can move back into go and take responsibility and see clearly again. We can go back into the phase of, gosh, you've just hit the ceiling, what's Gay Hendricks, that you've just hit your upper limit level, in the big leap. There are blind spots that you've got that have stopped you continuing to move. That was me 100% at the end of 2022, 2023. And I hung in phase one and phase two up until 2024. But you think about it, it's not about like, oh my God, I've gone backwards. As you know, a lot of people will say to me, have I gone backwards? You can never go backwards because we've already become. You can't unbecome who you already have become, right? There's wisdom there, there's awareness there, there's lived experience there. So the next time we go and spiral again to phase one or phase two, where the foundation is, but strong, much stronger than the very first time when we were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Yeah. The reason why, one of the reasons why I couldn't write the masterclass until this morning, because that only happened a few days ago, that map. And right, here's an example. I moved. I knew I wanted to put this masterclass on. And then what I need for the masterclass unfolds, right? Would that have unfolded if I hadn't put the masterclass on? I don't know. But I really like that map. So I just want to open up to you guys in terms of where you feel you're orienting. Do you feel you're orienting now in 3 and 4, or 3 or 4? Do you feel you're orienting elsewhere? Not everybody needs to share, just if you feel to share. As I said, I know I had been 1 and 2 for 23, 24. And at the same time, I was also going into 3 in executing because I ran 2 new programs, sacred leadership programs. I ran my best year yet. But all of that was being fueled by what I was receiving in 1 and 2. So over to you.
I'll share as soon as that frog leaves my throat. Something I've been reflecting on the last couple of days, because we talked about this in the call that we had on whatever day it was this week.
Yeah.
That return for me in the last few years to what for a long time actually felt like, oh my goodness, I'm just back in the swamp of staring at my own stuff and feeling like there's no that like the vision I could see for myself and my life and my leadership, like it was still there, but it was totally inaccessible to me in terms of being able to take action. And that structure, that return part, that has felt like a return with new perspective and new capacity. And I don't think I could have understood that while I was in it, but I can see that clearly now. Like, yes, there was that sort of first go round when you first developing awareness. And I was so very supported at that point with people around me who could hold themselves in that place of leadership and stewardship, and help me to discover, and it felt so liberating the first time round when you discover, oh, that's what that pattern is, and now I'm not like believing that we're free from it simply because we can see it, and then having to develop the capacity that I call it holy wholeness, right? Like you've heard me use that term before, like seeing it the first time round and having that sense of liberation still came from a place of thinking that it had to go away. I had to be able to see it so that it was no longer there, so that I could be free. The second time round was no, you have to see it in order that you can give it a home inside you, in order that you can return to wholeness in a way that actually honors the sacredness of every single part, no matter what it looked like and no matter how ugly it felt, to be in it, like coming back to that, oh yeah, it's there now and it's without judgment. So now that kind of return, I have that perspective of I'm not looking for things to blame for stuckness. I'm not looking for reasons why I can't move forward. I'm simply looking for what else is at home inside me so that it doesn't then run the show. Like that kind of idea of, yeah, look, there's a bunch of children running around here. You just don't give them a seat on the driver's seat of the bus. Like they all get to go back there. They're along for the ride, but they don't get to drive the bus.
Yeah.
So the capacity to then sit in action comes from no longer trying to hold separate all of that, that
Beautiful.
it's all included. And the capacity for stewardship requires that. Like I can't go into leadership in the work that I want to do without having that integration,
Totally.
because otherwise it's a shit show.
Yes. Yes.
And it's
Perfectly.
exhausting. It's exhausting to try and hold ourselves in a whole bunch of parts as well. Like the clarity required actually requires no longer fighting internally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Perfectly said. And you feel like you're moving to 3 and 4 now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Building foundations is done. Return will still happen because
Yeah.
those kids still live in my house and
Of
sometimes they're
course.
going to have things to say.
Of
And it's
course.
my job to listen to them and tend to them and care for them,
Yes.
but not actually live in that orientation that says
Yeah.
all of that is still true. And
Yeah.
it's actually a reason why I can't move forward.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much, Leslie. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we are going to move because there's 3 places that I want to go to. So there's 3 notes to self, 4 notes to self I'm going to share with you. And the first one I received on the 23rd of January. And the way that I write my notes to self is I write them and then I have a look and I see what that was actually about, and then I give it a title at the end. And this one was about the title was The Fire Horse Calls You Out. Like this one was so fierce. I shared it in my best year yet. I can't remember who said it. One of the best writings. Oh, Misha said it. One of the best writings so far. Like it's very, very, very calling you out. So you're going to see as I share these, particularly the first 3, you're going to see that there's different places we dip into. So this one is we're dipping into self-honesty, right? And we're lining you up. And when I received this piece of writing, I read it every day to line me up. Like I read it and I felt lined up after I read it. I've put it I've put it to music, I've put it to visuals now, so I'm going to play that. If you're visual, open your eyes. If you're auditory, I prefer to close my eyes. Close your eyes and just receive this piece. It does call us out. You know, as I said, it's about self-honesty. If it resonates with you, fantastic. And if it doesn't have to. What I'm going to ask you to do is go into your own notes to self. You can do it during, you can do it after. I can give you a prompt that you might start with. You might want to write this down, but you don't have to start with this prompt, okay? It's just a prompt, and the prompt is in my self-honesty. Alrighty. Everybody's good with what we're doing? Awesome. The fire horse will call you out. It will see your excuses, your delays, your resistances. It will call you out on your disrespectful relationship with God, with Mother Nature, with the universe, when you outsource your power to them, when you outsource your will, when you outsource your decisions, when you outsource your inherent creative agency, when you wait for signs, for divine timing, when you hide behind patience instead of owning the authority that was given to you. The fire horse will call you out when you defer self-responsibility, believing that God, the universe, or some higher intelligence is responsible for delivering your life to you. This is not faith, this is hypocrisy. To call yourself a child of God while insisting you are powerless is a profound misunderstanding of creation. God created man in his image. Did you forget? The fire horse will call you out, and it will do so through agitation. So be prepared. Agitation that points, agitation that directs, agitation that exposes exactly where you have outsourced your creative authority to the universal field of intelligence. And it won't stop at authority. The fire horse will call you out on your gifts, the ones you minimize, the ones you postpone, the ones you keep private so you don't have to risk them in the world. The fire horse will ask why you speak of devotion while burying the very capacities that were placed in your care. Why you pray for guidance while withholding your sight. Why you ask for support while refusing to bring your strength forward. Once last year, when I questioned my gifts, I was taken to my knees by my mentor's response. Do you not realize that most people will never even touch once in their lives what you have been gifted with? So if you have gifts, see them as divine assignments. To be gifted is to be entrusted. To be entrusted is to be responsible. The fire horse will call you out when you confuse humility with hiding, when you call it modesty instead of fear, when you call it patience instead of resistance. Because gifts unused do not remain neutral. They atrophy, they turn inward, they become resentment, exhaustion, agitation. You are not given authority without capacity. You are not given vision without responsibility. You are not given gifts to pretend they don't exist because you are embarrassed by them. Because this is not spirituality. This is confusing the feminine with the absence of the masculine. This is mistaking receptivity for passivity, intuition for inaction, flow for abdication, which is nothing more than self-betrayal dressed as spirituality. The feminine receives, the masculine commits. The feminine senses, the masculine moves from that frequency. The feminine holds the vision. The masculine builds the bridge. New realities are not birthed through one without the other. Creation requires both. The fire horse year does not choose between inner and outer worlds. It requires both energetics and action, awareness and integration, self-evolution and manifestation. This is how new worlds are born. This
is how your new world is born. This is the year you have been waiting for.
I'm going to stop you there, unfortunately. Okay. There's room for two people to share what they wrote. It's a powerful thing to share. Who'd like to be the first person? Leslie, I love it. Thank you.
Crossing over. Your holy wholeness is not yet whole until it includes your fullest connection with and commitment to living your tremendous gifts. In separation, you define spaces and people as safe and not safe to live out the wholeness of who you are. And that required you to hold on to those child parts who took over to protect you in unsafe spaces. You strengthened your capacity to hold in loving grace all your dysfunction and all that you once judged and criticized. Now you must strengthen your capacity to live into your power, your divinity, your capacity for insight, and the depth of your love and tenderness for life. Your vision never left. It was and ever will always be yours. It asks you to stand on two strong legs.
Oh, amazing. Okay, let's see where it goes in the next notes to self. Thank you. So we're going to move to the next piece. So yes, that was a place of self-honesty, right?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a place of self-honesty and lining you up. And now we're going to move to a note to self that I wrote 2 days ago. Notes to self 833. And this note to self was catalyzed by a moment of fear. So I received an email that made me feel fear. I took myself through a process where I talked to the little me, and then this note to self happened. And Leslie, you have heard this already. So this year, for some reason, I've been using the words small mind and big mind. Again, it's all about orientation. Like, am I orienting in small mind? If I'm orienting in small mind, I'll do the work to be with that, to little Giselle, until I start to feel my leadership. And this is what happened. Because of that email, this is what happened. And this wouldn't have happened had the email not happened. That had me in fear initially. So I named this again, right? I write and then I look and then I see what the title is. This title is Big Mind with a Spine. Big Mind with a Spine. And I loved this was full on stream of consciousness. I loved the first question that came that then set off the rest. So the first question was, are you willing to keep your ego vulnerable so your heart can thrive as you deliver visions and missions of beautiful madness? Right? Because my ego was really vulnerable. So are you willing to keep your ego vulnerable so your heart can thrive as you deliver visions and missions of beautiful madness? What does that mean? Are you willing to not have certainty about safety? Because if you make safety a priority, then you remain in familiar territory. You might attempt to have new elevated conversations, but whilst you are making safety your priority, the universe responds to your need for safety. It will therefore keep you safe by keeping you contained, and you will not be heard to the extent the vision and mission calls for. This is why so many almost live their work, but never fully deliver it. The universe responds to the priority you set. For your heart to thrive in the year you have been prepared for, the priority is not in keeping your ego content in safety. It is not about protecting self by avoiding fear, by avoiding tension and discomfort. It is not about protecting self by avoiding the possibility of others going into fear and their own tension and discomfort. The delivery of visions and missions of beautiful madness is not an act of safety at all. The delivery is bold. It brings new paradigms of possibility to those who have the ability to see what you do, maybe for the first time, or maybe as affirmation of what they have already seen, which may be different to yours. Because the torchbearer not only lights the way for their own vision and mission of beautiful madness, but it lights the torches of others to go forth with their own. And to those who do not see what you do, they may simply remain neutral, or they may be agitated in the contrast you bring. It is human default to go into blame, judgment, and defense, especially when fear is present in them. When this occurs, because it will, you are asked to hold the pressure that has been activated in you and do the work to regulate yourself, while still holding strong in your vision and mission. We call visions and missions of this kind beautiful, in inverted commas, madness for a reason. They are beautiful for the purity of love that births them, for the inner depth through which they were formed, for the possibilities that can now become real in the human evolution. They are madness, for it takes great courage to carry a torch that challenges the narrative for what we see as possible. They are madness in a world that believes only in past behaviour, past ways, and past evidence creating the future. They are madness because they stretch, irritate, and because they are vulnerable. They are madness to the ego because safety is not the priority. This is why it takes a village to realise visions and missions of beautiful madness. A village that sees, acknowledges, and is humbled by what you bring forth. A village where self-permission is granted through all the reflections of beautiful madness around them, because permission is contagious. A village where the light of one torch makes the light of others brighter. A village where we do not waste our love on fear. It is not only for you, it is also for me, because the light of your torch also makes my light brighter. Let us be humbled and in awe of one another. Let us own and share our voices in new territories. Let us gather those who say, thank God you are here. Let us make the impossible possible through the courage and power of our spirit. Because we are ready, we have been well prepared, our devotion has served us well. This is the year we've been waiting for. The prompt could be, this is the year we've been waiting for, or I am a torchbearer. Into your own writing. I can see that some of you guys are still writing, but I'm going to need to move on. So I'm going to ask one person who hasn't shared to either speak out or read out what it is that you wrote or became aware of. Brian.
Shall I?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I start off that sentence. This is the year I've been waiting for, where I let go of my ego need for evidence, share freely without my perceived perfection, see agitation as the catalyst for action, Realize that my gifts are responsibilities and that this builds more power.
Yes.
Realize and remember distraction is the small brain me. And trust fully my gifts for remote work are already there and waiting.
Awesome. That was powerful, right?
Very good.
Very good. So let's go to the next piece because there's a beautiful flow here. So the next piece, the energy of the next piece is about that big yes and, big yes energy and movement. So big no and big yes is just so simple, right? It's so childlike, but it helps you make decisions as to what is an absolute big yes and what is an absolute big no. Last year, Tess knows this because she was part of the program. I started running a new program called the Presence Room in August last year, and I was not loving it all at all. And it felt like we were meeting once a month. I actually put on a second option to come. I felt like I was trying to sell people to come every month. Um, it just did not have the same joy for me, nor the same devotion that, some of you have been in my other groups, the experience that I've had in the other groups. And, at the same time as running Presence Room, I was also running My Best Year Yet, which is absolutely delicious. So I had this, it was like, this is like, oh my God, this is like heaven on earth. And this was like, I felt like I was bloody pulling teeth. So it was a big no. So I closed it ahead of time. I couldn't, I remember the December dates were coming and I just couldn't do it. And I was like, well, I can say no and I can stop it and I'll refund and, or offer one-on-ones, whatever. And best decision I made. Because then it creates space, right? For what else is the big yes. So this note to self is about big yes energy and movement. So I wrote this one on the 5th of February and just noticing, right? Like my notes to self that I shared with you today are not chronological. There's some behind, backwards, and there's some in the future. Now we're going backwards. This one is 5th of February. So this was last week. Again, I was present to the energy within me and it made me go and write my notes to self. It's not like as if, oh, what am I going to write about my notes to self today? I already had the energy with me and that's what had me go and write. So after I'd written, I gave it a title, and the title I love is Multiple Lanes and Where the Throne Now Belongs. Multiple Lanes and Where the Throne Now Belongs. The prompt for you might be, I'll just give it to you now. It might be delivering what? Delivering what? One compounding action of beautiful madness at a time. One compounding action of beautiful madness at a time. Okay. And here are all the masculine words that it started with because I could feel it in my body. Delivery, actualization, materialization, adventure and mystery, born from making moves in the moment when the big yes is there. In contrast, this is not a time for sitting, for lingering, for incubating in allowing and patience. We are always sourced from the feminine creative principles, always, but it is no longer where the throne belongs. Our throne belongs in the world. This is the year of movement, of action that follows knowing without delay, of visions and missions not contemplated, but enacted. Face forward, shoulders back, walking bravely towards, being the Pied Piper of beautiful madness and walking missions and visions of beautiful madness into the world. And then they come, they walk alongside, shoulder to shoulder, as they see that their throne too belongs in the world. Face forward, shoulders back, walking bravely towards, in full faith always. Delivering. Delivering what? Delivering love in all her forms. Fully expressed, head held high, open gate, embodied. Ready to be received by the world for all that they have devoted themselves to receiving through the long years of preparation. Yes, in the world, multiple lanes, no longer staying in their lane. Why? Because capacity, dear one, capacity. There is room now. Overflowing love, overflowing vision, overflowing purpose, overflowing power, and overflowing delivery. Delivery, that's what. This is the year we've been waiting for. This year, so I've added to this. This year, as Jan in My Best Year Yet said, I am being the reality that I have chosen. Yes, this is the year where we are being the reality that we have chosen. The year where all our devotion and diligence to our inner game is materialized in physical form. The year where the gaps in fully living our potentiality are closed. The year where we line ourselves up on a daily basis to live who we have become in the world. No longer taking a back seat, whether in resistance or true inner work. We go deep to have the capacity to see, because a tree can grow only as deep as its roots. And thus, this is the year where our presence is marked in the world through the footprints we leave behind by walking shoulders back, face forward, held head held high, fully expressed, open gate, walking bravely towards. And where momentum is realized through one compounding and courageous action of beautiful madness at a time. So unfortunately, I'm going to stop you there. Should have wish we had longer. So who would like to share? Niall or Guy? I'm just wondering. Niall, do you feel to share?
Can you hear me?
Oh, Guy. Yes, Guy's in Bali. Are you, I think, at the moment?
Yes, I'm in
Yes.
Bali.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Sorry for not pulling up the video, but it's wet season here and there's big storms and the signal's going in and out. But I've really enjoyed listening to everybody and you, Jizzy. I just wanted to say that I've been very, as present as I can with that signal going in and out.
Thank you.
So yeah, I've been very much moved by your words today, Jizzy, and the validity of what seems to be happening with me. I'm realizing and manifesting this community in Bali that I've been working on and off around for a really long time. And this is the year where I must realize the culmination of the work, the physical, mental, and spiritual work that I've been putting into not just my career, but actually our place here, which Jizzy's very aware of what I'm talking about.
Yes.
My focus is manifesting this year and developing a community based space in Bali that becomes a center for not only our friends and a space of creativity and relaxation and growth and fun. But for me, I've just really started to realize how much of it is actually driven just by me, and that I'm really okay with that. And even though I have a wonderful best friend, business partner, who co-invests with me on this, and support from many of my friends who've come and visited here and love my place. But I'm here, I'm the one here, and I'm the driver. And I think I've allowed myself to be fearful of that at times.
Yeah.
That there's a lot on me, and I think after processing that and working around it, really for a couple of years, as well as enduring, the COVID and a few other things that were thrown in our path, that seemed to stymie what I was heading towards, what we were heading towards. I really feel so strongly this year that this is actually my gift. This is my gift. And I don't need particularly anyone else to make it happen. I trust that I can make it happen. And it will be all the successes and failures and the wins and the losses, I think I've realized has led me to this point, that they all happen for a reason. And I'm so strong in the potential and the knowledge of what can be done here, and so excited by it. Even getting my head around the fact that our village now, when we first built our place here, was a quiet little sort of fishing village, and is now kind of morphing into something a little bit more touristy, let's say. And again, I've stopped making that a negative. I've turned that around. And I've also realized that, for my friends, when we built this place, we were in our 30s, and now we're in our 50s and 60s. And actually, we really like just being able to walk out and go to a restaurant or a bar or a beach bar, or, a gelato store, or all the things that have popped up in our village that weren't here even just three or 4 years ago. So we said, yeah, and I'm the driver. I'm the driver, and I'm in the driver's seat.
Yes.
And I'm the one who's going to manifest it, and it's all up to me. And I think it's just helped me so much to understand and come to this point where my main thought about it all is no longer fear-based at all. And I'm just thinking, let's go. Let's go.
Love it.
Let's do it. I'm so excited and happy to be driving it, So it was so nice to tap in today and hear about the fire horse and what the fire horse is telling us, because I'm very fiery and very horsey this year, I can tell you.
Oh, that is so brilliant, Guy. Like you have been, it's like as if I planted you on this masterclass to be the final person, because we're over time, right? To be the final person that speaks and is a demonstration of everything that I talked about in terms of the 4 phases. Like
Yes, yes,
you're able to say, I'm the driver, let's go. I no longer have fear because of, through all the wins and the losses and the believing that you needed to co-pilot with this with somebody else.
yeah,
Because of all of that, you're here.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
of all of that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
it is brilliant. It is brilliant. I,
Yeah,
I
excited
feel
for you.
happier. I feel happier than I have for years. I'm so excited.
Oh, I love, 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 love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, and I'm just so glad that you spoke. And may that, love everybody else that's here on this call and who watch the replay. May that there's a lot of love and power to be shared from
Yeah,
God's demonstration. Lots of love and power to be shared.
yeah,
But I do want to let you know, I mean, you've probably read about it already in the emails that I've sent. Because I loved my best year so far so much, as opposed to the presence room, I thought I was going to close my best year yet in March, and we are closing in March. However, it's the same structure is going to continue because it's so good, but it's going to be to the theme of beautiful madness. So on the 13th of March, there's the opportunity to come to breathwork in Tweed Heads. If you're part of Beautiful Madness, we're closing my best year yet and closing my best year yet and opening Beautiful Madness on the 13th of March in Tweed Heads at Breathwork. Breathwork is different. I only did one session in Breathwork for my best year yet last year. This year we have 3 sessions booked in Tweed Heads. The way Beautiful Madness works, which is the same structure as my best year yet, is we do exactly what we did here today. But we do it 3 times per month for a year. And some people, Leslie's awesome. Leslie comes almost to every call. Whereas, there's a couple of people, there's a lady in Bali, Guy, Margaret, she probably comes maybe once every few months. And then Fiona, who lives in Borneo, probably comes once a month. So it's whatever works for you. And we do exactly what we did here today. So, if you want to, if you love today, right, and you feel that phase 3 and that phase 4 is your bag this year, it does take a village. It does. I really welcome you to come into that program. And I'm doing exactly the same thing that I did with my best year yet. I'm offering a pre-sale fee to really encourage those people who are intuitive buyers like me. When well, then there's I guess there's a reward or an incentive there. So that's available until the 18th of February next week. Just reach out to me. I have put the landing page on emails, but just reach out to me and we can talk about the details if that's what you would love.
Can I just add one thing? Sorry, just, hijacking.
Go.
We do however many calls a month that we can meet. But one thing that felt really clear to me, it's not like the only time we feel in community and connected is when we're on those calls. For me, it felt like I was there and held and witnessed no matter what, like at all points of my, day to day. And that was a pretty unique experience for me in terms of like group programs. Like in the past, I know I've only really felt that kind of like, oh, I love being actually in group in present because that's the only time I get to feel that kind of witnessing and presence. And a bit of that's because we have the recordings. We can go and listen to the recordings. We can tune into our writings and we can share it. And we can also just share independent of the what's being facilitated, whatever's coming up as well. And have a space of witnessing for that. Just want to say that.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It is the group, because most of the people are continuing, are just beautiful, mature, beautiful. We only have women so far. Beautiful. So, the men are welcome. Beautiful, mature women. And we were going to continue anyway, weren't we? Before I saw Beautiful Madness, we were just going to continue anyway. So, yeah, very, very special. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for showing up. Yeah.
Excuse me, Giselle, may I ask, being in Perth
Yes.
and having a bit of brain fog at the moment, what time would it be for me?
They're spread. So I do 10 o'clock in Sydney time, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock. They alternate.
Is this talking about tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow, beg your pardon.
Sorry.
Tomorrow is 11:30 Sydney. No, it's not. No, it's going to be too early for you. It's 9:30 Sydney time. It's going to be too early. Like
So
6:30 for you.
I'm going to put it down anyway. Thank you.
Okay. 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 Tomorrow's 9:30. Yeah.
So 6:30 a.m. for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Giselle, and thank you, everyone else.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Awesome. Have an amazing Friday. See you tomorrow if you come.
Yes.
Thanks, Giselle.
See you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Giselle.
Great to
Thanks,
be with you.
Jizzy.
Great.
Thanks,
See
everybody.
you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye, Giselle.